people? Yes, this is a cup of coffee this morning. I am doing some early morning brewing. It's too early for a beer, so I'll have some coffee while I brew. Cheers. Alright, so we are going to be brewing today for you some honey country Pilsner, 1 gallon recipe from Northern Brewer. Let's unbox it and see what we got here. We have done this one before. This is a really good recipe. I love this recipe. One of my favorite beers. So we got our Pilsen Light dried malt extract, 1 pound. Got our fizz drops. We got our yeast. It's a really big package of yeast. And it looks like more like a 5 gallon package. We got some honey, like 2 ounces of honey there. And we have some Williamette hops, and there's 2 7-gram bags of those. And last but not least, our Northern Brewer instructions, if we can get them out of the box. Okay, they don't want to come out the box, that's fine. So this is what we got. Very simple brew, not a whole lot to it. You know, just 1 addition of hops. You got your honey and your dried malt extract. With this stuff, you got to be careful with boilovers. I've actually done several of these dried malt extracts, and I've usually have trouble with the first part of the boil, so just be careful there. All right, so we'll get to brewing. All right, so we're all set up here, getting ready to do our honey country Pilsner. I've already put in about 1/4 to 1/2 gallon of water. Got a whole nother gallon of water here, and I filter my water in my Brita. Got all of our ingredients. Got us a kitchen timer set for 45 minutes. And got us a pair of scissors and our instructions. Of course, our trusty old 2 gallon brewing pot and our turkey frying propane burner, which we're going to be upgrading here soon. We just ordered this new one. So we're going to be actually using a real brewing burner. So I'm going to get the rest of this water in here. It calls for 1.25 gallons. I use between that and 1.5 gallons. It's not exact, but as long as you get close, it's fine. All right, so we're gonna warm this up, get it up to temperature, and as soon as we get it up to temperature, we're gonna put in our dried malt extract and our first Williamette hops. We'll see you back then. Okay, it looks like our water's getting close to a boil. We've got a lot of small bubbles in it, so it's not far off. Don't have my thermometer in it. Actually, I have my thermometer in my fermenter with sanitation solution. So I'm gonna just bring this to a boil without the thermometer and then cut the heat back. I'm gonna go ahead and mix in this dried malt extract because I know how this goes. I've been here and done it before, and I do not want to have a boil over with this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it all in there. It's right before it gets to the boiling point. Always good if you can stir this in as you're dumping it in. That looks pretty good. And it's already foaming up. It's not even boiling. So I'm going to continue to stir this and make sure that we don't have any issues. Cut the heat back. And then we'll start our timer. Just want to make sure, with this dried malt extract, you want to make sure you mix it in good. Get all the lumps and stuff worked out. All right, once it gets up to a boil, we'll be back with you and we'll put in our first hops addition and start our timer. All right, so we coaxed it to a boil. Probably my best start off to a boil with dried malt extract ever. So throwing it in there right before the boil started helped a whole lot. And as you can see, I got a good rolling boil going. All right, so we're gonna put in our first hops addition. And we'll stir it in good. I'm gonna leave this on the same heat and I'll start our timer. And with 20 minutes left, we'll drop in our second dose of Williamette, and then at the cut of the heat, we'll put in the honey. We'll see you then. All right, everything's moving along real nicely. Our wort is looking good. We're gonna add in our second hops of the Williamette. Stir that in really good. And we're gonna go another roughly 20 minutes. We'll cut the heat and we're gonna put our honey in. Now, I did notice that this yeast packet was a really large one. It looks like a 5-gallon yeast packet. The recipe actually calls just for half of it, so that makes sense. Because normally the packages are a lot smaller for the 1 gallon. All right, so we're looking good. I got this stirred in. I will say this time around with this recipe, it's went a lot smoother, and I'm excited to drink this beer. All right, we just hit the 45-minute mark, and I just cut the heat off our burner. We're going to put in our honey here. It actually probably would help to sit this in some warm water. We'll just let it ooze out. That did the trick. I got it all out for the most part. All right, so I'm gonna stir this in really good. And cover it, and I'm gonna prepare in the sink an ice bath for it. And then we'll get it in there cooling. Get the thermometer on it and get it down below 80, around 76, 77, somewhere around there. Smells awesome. All right, so we'll be back. All right, so we'll be back once we get this chilled down. All right, so we got an ice bath here. I'll go ahead and get it all iced up. I'm gonna let that sit. And it should cool down here, maybe 30 minutes or so. And we'll be able to transfer it into our fermenter once it's cooled off. Okay, we got our wort is cooled now. We got our fermenter sanitized. We've been air drying it. Scissors are sanitized. Even sanitize our yeast packet, which the instructions say to sanitize. And we have our lid sanitized with some solution inside of it. Inside the airlock, that is. So now we're ready to transfer our wort into our fermenter. I'm going to try to avoid forming the crud in the bottom. Actually, very little bit in there. last little bit. There's really not much in it, surprisingly. Let's stop with that. So we'll leave that little bit of crud in the bottom. This is why I typically will brew about 1.5 gallons, because you end up with about 1 gallon. Actually, that's right at the gallon mark right there, I believe. If even that, I believe that is the gallon mark. So that's why I brew with 1.5 gallons, because you always get a lot of evaporation. All right, so last step here, I'm going to open up our yeast packet. We're only going to put about half of this, and it calls for only half. So be careful not to put too much. I think that's about half. A little bit more. And you can use this, I wouldn't save this for making beer, but you can use this for like bread making if your wife makes bread or whatnot. I'm just going to toss it because I really don't have a use for it. Some folks will aerate their beer at this point. I'm going to pull the airlock out while I put this lid on so everything doesn't squirt out. And you can do that if you want to kind of swish it around a little bit. Just carefully put your airlock back in so you're not squirting everything out of it. But if you want to swish it around, the recipe doesn't call for that. It's a small batch, so you know, usually the bigger batches, like the 5 gallon batches, you'll want to aerate, like mix it around or use like a air pump with a stone on it. But we're not going to worry about that with this. Directions don't call for that. And as we transferred it from the pot into here, we got some air into the wort. All right, so this is going to go in a cool, dark place. Not too cool, but 76, 75-ish room. And it will sit in a dark place for 2 weeks, and then we're going to come back and bottle it, and we'll have that in our second part. We appreciate you joining us for this video. I hope you liked watching us make up this Honey Country Pilsner. Great beer if you haven't tried it. There will be a link in the description to our sponsor who carries a Pilsner. This is actually another Brewer product, but we don't promote their products at this time. But we do have a link to more beer if you want to check out their Pilsner recipe, and also check out brewingdaddy.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share us if you enjoy our videos, and we appreciate you. Peace out.